You didn't like the other one?
I used that one the other day. We were screwing around. I just liked like the top range. You could really lengthen it and get a good stretch.
Okay.
So I'll do these two. So superset these to the dumbbell curl.
Okay.
So today we're training arms, and last week we had a really good arm workout. I think it was the first time. I know Cody. I woke up the next day. I was like, oh my gosh, my triceps are sore. And then Cody texted in our group, you said your triceps are sore, right? Yeah. So it was just like a lot of volume, a lot of blood. For triceps, we actually did we did some supersets with bis and tris, but for triceps, we actually did 2 tricep exercises with a bicep exercise, just really forcing as much blood into the muscle. So we're gonna start with this variation with the prime handles into straight push down, and when we're performing this one, we're actually gonna be standing upright, and we're gonna be focusing on letting the tricep fully lengthen so there's tons of tension in the tricep when it's stretched here, where when we're performing this one, we're actually gonna take a step back. And so there's nothing up here really, but there's gonna be tons when you're contracting the triceps. Because if you look at the cable, it's actually going back, right? And you see that pathway where we're on the tricep, we're actually right over it. So it's going just down. So just different sort of resistance profiles. I'm gonna superset that with dumbbell curls. Comes to mind for me, a lot of injuries. A lot of people tear biceps. It's usually out of the gym, right? And it's usually picking something awkward up, or usually when the bicep is in a fully lengthened position. So Antoine, for example, tore it twice, bending over, grabbing something, while the arm is fully lengthened. So that's why whenever I'm training, I'm really, really aware of training my bicep and hamstrings through that fully lengthened range. So the fully lengthened, it's actually if you flex your tricep, your bicep's fully lengthened. Same thing on a hamstring curl. If you're on a lying hamstring curl, if you flex, contract your quad, your hamstring's fully lengthened. If you pull from there, I feel like training that muscle and making sure it's strong in those ranges is just going to prevent any future injuries. There's a lot of people when they curl, they have a tendency to keep a bend in their arm always, right? They're always like this. They never let that bicep fully lengthen and applying tension. So pre-workout, before I got here, I had 2 scoops of the Ultra. I kind of go back and forth between the Pre-HD Elite and Ultra. On days that are a little easier, I don't mind the stims. But because I'm dieting, I'm actually 5.5 weeks out on the Canadian Nationals. I find on really hard training days, legs or back, if I have too many stimulants, kind of makes me feel a little bit anxious, and I don't feel that great on those days, so I'll use the Elite on those days. So I've been using the Dragon Fruit, the new flavor. It's amazing. While I'm training right now, I've actually just been drinking water, so I just have water in here. I was using the Intra HD, the new grapefruit is really, really awesome. You guys should definitely give that a shot. And I'll show you guys what I'm drinking after the workout. I still have Carb HD post-workout with Create HD, 10 grams of the EAAs, 10 grams of glutamine, and a little bit of salt. What'd you have?
For today, just for today, you can use code Dorian, but just for today.
It's actually Dorian 10.
Oh, Dorian 10.
Exercise. On to the next.
Feeling good? Looking good?
Oh, yeah, it's burning. It's burning.
Juji competes tomorrow, right?
Yes. Yeah, tomorrow. It looks really good this morning. Carved up really hard for 2 days. 750 grams of carbs, 2 days. Filled up pretty nice. Still super dry. So.
He's your last client until you compete?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, up next is me and Kathleen. Yeah, so we just did the Jim LeCaux curl over there, which is one of my favorite machines. It's really good. I don't know. I just feel like it's really easy to really isolate the bicep on that, whether you do it unilateral or even together. And then we supersetted that with skull crushers on a slight incline. I really feel like the skull crusher just puts a lot of load on the tricep, especially in like the fully lengthened or stretched position. So I really like skull crushers. I've tried like going without them for a long time, and for some reason I just feel like my tricep doesn't have the same girth to it when I do include them. So I really like that movement, and then we're just ending that with what Val's doing over there, which is a single arm cable push down. And again, you can manipulate that exercise by how much distance you stand away from the cable, right? So you take a few steps back, you're gonna load like the bottom portion of the tricep here, right? When we're going that way, we're pulling the cable back. We step into the cable, then we're gonna do more upper tricep. So now we're gonna decide on our next exercise. What did we do last? So I am gonna be doing, I love single arm dumbbell tricep extension. Not everyone loves this exercise. I feel like it depends on your shoulder mobility. But yeah, I've always just connected really well with it. So I'm gonna do that. And I love dumbbell preacher curls. So I'm gonna superset those two exercises. Val and Cody are gonna do, looks like Cody's on a cable over there. I know last week they did dips. And I think they're gonna use the Atlantis preacher curl, which is an awesome selectorized machine. So you get to see a little bit of all these exercises. So again, when we're doing the preacher curl, weight is going down, fully lengthening bicep, and then we come up, the weight is pushing out first, then up, and then we're pulling my wrist to my shoulder for hard contraction. That wrist is always staying straight. This is not an exercise to load the weight up and just swing it. The entire time, like here, there's tension. It's never a dull moment on this exercise. It's annoying if you do it properly. Again, my shoulders are a little messed up, but I still try and do the best I can with them. But when we're up and the arm is up, that dumbbell we're trying to keep straight always. If it's a barbell, don't let your wrist do this. And then we're actually reaching that way with it. So it's going behind us. So to the side, reaching. Come around. It's fully stretching that tricep, keeping that wrist straight. If you have the ability to keep your arm slightly that way there's tension right to the top, right to here. Because if we're over here, it's kind of stacked on joint. So I like to point it. So you keep all that tension on the tricep. Big stretch. Oh boy.
What have they been in the past, you know?
I can't remember. I think on video, I think the one time was 21.2, I think.
All right. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going! 21.3.
0.3. Well, I'm leaner. Oh, that was post show too.
Yeah.
Okay. That's okay.
Wow.
I'll take it.
Wow, you're like 5 weeks at
21.3.
Right, 4? Yeah.
21.3. Yeah, I think if I go back to the video, I did one arm video. I think we were like 2 weeks post show, blown out. I think they were 21.2. So
Hey,
that means arm gains.
solid arm gains right
Yeah.
there.
Put it up.
I
That's it.
hope you
Val.
guys are ready.
That's it. Oh, you broke it.
I'm using my palm.
Stay there. Yeah. Flex, flex.
I'm flexing. Trying.
14.3.
See, I was right. Well,
14.3.
I got work to do, guys.
14 point what? 0.3. It's crazy the weights though when you think about it. Like what some guys weigh and what their arms are.
Like who?
Well, I just saw. I know like a lot of top pros' arms are like 21 and a half, 22 inches, but they're like 280, 290, right?
What was yours?
19 on the dot.
Ooh.
Did you drop your food again? So same thing.
Pretty much. He got rid of one high day. Before I had 3 high days, now I have 2 high days, and the rest are low days.
Oh, but it's probably the 2 burger you had when you did your thing in your halves.
Oh yeah, the burgers, right? No, I haven't had a cheat meal since I've been working with Patrick since January, February, March. Like no cheat meals, nothing. Maybe a couple times went to a restaurant, had like a steak and a potato. Not while I was dieting, like really, really far out, like back in April. But yeah, so it's been like a pretty crazy. But it's weird. I was having this conversation with Rachel and my friends, and it's like I love cheat meals. I'm a foodie for all you guys that know me, but it's almost easier when you don't have them during a prep because I feel like the longer you go without it, kind of like is that a word? Desensitize?
Oh, you're asking me. I think so.
We're gonna say it's a word, but I feel like you're not craving it as much because your body's not familiar with it. Where when you have it every week, it's like you're jonesing for it every week, which I think can have pros and cons in a diet. I think there's some people that mentally need it. Maybe they like to go week to week and like push really hard for that day. Because I do think there is like some pros to cheat meals, whether it's just like reduces cortisol, you get to go out and relax, endorphins are going. So I think there is something to be said. They do have their place. But for me, I can't. It's hard to say whether they're going to benefit me or not. But I will say that like it's been easier not having them, and I don't really think about them. And even like when I was 8 weeks out, I was like, I can go eat 8 more weeks without a cheat meal. When I did do them all the time, it was like, oh my gosh, I got 5 more days or 4 more days. It was like my whole week revolved around the cheat meal. I was able to eat a lot more food during the prep, which is nice too. Because usually I got to starve. Like we haven't done more than 30 minutes of cardio the entire prep too, which I think has a lot of pros, like saves the legs. So yeah, it's been a great prep. I got 5.5 more weeks. I had a lot going on with business and stuff, so I haven't been as active online or on my YouTube or on the HD YouTube. But over the next 5 weeks, we're going to try and maybe film like once a week, so you guys can follow along the last 5 weeks. And then right when I'm done, Val is 10 weeks out from the Olympia. But after when she finished Vancouver, when we finished Vancouver, we talked about like, because we started training together how many weeks before Toronto and Vancouver?
4, 6 weeks?
Yeah, so like we've been training since probably what, May?
Yeah.
Since in May.
June, May I think, yeah. May
And we're
after
both,
June.
and we're both like foodies. You guys know I coach Val, and I was like, when I'm done my show, we're gonna go out and like have some type of food challenge.
No, we were at the airport in Tampa before going to Tampa, and we're just like talking about like McDonald's, like food, and then we're like, he's like, oh, how many weeks are you gonna be when I'm gonna finish my show? So I'm like, I'll be 10 weeks. I'm like, what were you gonna say? He's like, oh, I was just thinking doing a big cheat. I'm like, I'll start prep earlier, and then 10 weeks with the big cheat, and then we go all in. So
If she keeps it tight the next little bit, we'll be able to do it. And then it's drop the hammer. She's 10 weeks out.
we start prep Monday. So
guys, thanks for watching. Until next time, make sure you comment down below. Really appreciate all your guys' support. It's been amazing to see this channel continue to grow. Yeah, super happy, guys. Thanks for all the support. Until next time.